Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. This is Courtney Harchak with Tracker. Thanks for attending our webinar today. We are going to go over some of our back office and portal enhancements and a quick little overview on our integration with QuickBooks and Xero. So thanks again for attending, and I'm going to go ahead and get started because we've got a lot to go through. So you should be seeing my screen, and I am in Tracker. And we are going to take a look first at some of the back office items that we've added into Tracker for all of you that are using our timesheets. So we got some efficiencies going, which is great. I'm just going to make sure here that I am sharing properly, and it looks like we're good to go. So I'm going to hop into our tools and settings and show you some of the back office options that we've added. So inside the resource tools, you have your time and expense settings. Inside the time and expense settings, we've added a new feature where you can default the timesheet week start. So the day of the week you want your timesheet to start on. Typically before, you did have to go in and update each placement separately. Now you can default it. The nice thing about the default is you can have everybody set to 1, and then if there's an outlier, you can still change it on the placement record itself. Something that's not so super new, but not all of you may know about it, is allowing to store zeros inside the timesheet. So if you would like your candidates to be able to store a 0, so not that they forgot to enter time or that they didn't enter time, if they didn't work one day, they can go in, add a 0, and when they submit those hours, it will show that they worked 0 hours that day. So again, it's not for the fact that they forgot to add time to a certain day, but it is the fact that they just didn't have any work to do that day. So you can go ahead and change that to yes, store zeros if you would like that to happen. Another thing that we added in, and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here, is a missing timesheet reminder template section. So here, where all your other templates for your timesheets are, the last one is the missing timesheet reminder. And the reason that we've done this is you can now send them in bulk. So prior to this, you did have to send them out separately. Now I'm going to show you once you fill this out here to have this template say whatever you would like. It works just like our other templates. So you can add tags here. You can also add any of pictures or anything else that you would like inside here by using this image selector. So if you want to put a logo or anything like that, you can personalize this template however you would like, just like you would a standard template. Once you have that all set up, don't forget to save your settings, and then we can go into the timesheet section. Inside the missing timesheets, I can now select all or a portion of people, just depending on who I'm trying to reach out to. I can then go to the action menu and click on email reminders to candidates. It's going to ask me if I'm sure. I'll go ahead and hit yes, and it will fire off that template that you've created. You'll also see a few other items in here, some different units in the day, what their status is. You can also view the timesheets right from the section, just like you could from the timesheet section itself. Another option that we've added is to export to Excel. So if you need to get this list of missing timesheet people, you can click on this. It will download a missing timesheet report, and you'll be able to view that in Excel and use that as needed. I can move this on over here, and you'll see it downloaded and shows me that same information that you see on that screen. Now, these updates are available to anybody and everyone that is part of Tracker, so feel free to check your settings. And if you need any help or have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out to your client success manager or client support, and we'll be more than happy to help you. Now, couple more things that we got going for candidates and timesheets, or just the portal, I should say. So I'm going to go ahead and log into the portal as your candidates would, so you can see an update to what we've done to the portal. So here, don't forget, guys, you can always test logins if needed. You can come in and log in as the candidate just to test it out if you need to make sure that everything is working properly. Now, before I take care of everything on the menu, I'm going to show you here in the candidate record. I think our naming convention has changed a bit. It does say submit approvals to client. This will allow candidates to submit their timesheet to the contact on the job where they're working. So don't forget that needs to be on in order for a candidate to submit their time. A newer one that we have is availability, marketing, and attendance. So here we'll talk about the availability. We'll also talk about marketing and declaration, and then attendance as well. I'm going to show you that inside the portal itself. Here, if I go in, I can look at the portal here, and you're going to see marketing and declaration and availability. So if I click on marketing declaration, this is a new feature that we've added where you can allow candidates to check off that you have the right to represent them, and that actually, when they check it off, updates a new field in Tracker to say right to represent yes. You'll also get a notification once the candidate unchecks or checks this and hits submit. You will get a notification that that has been updated. There's laws changing all over the country on what they call GDPR. So some of this stuff is going to come into handy as your laws start to change. I know California is kind of on the forefront with some of this stuff. So you have to be able to, some of these people be able to mark a right to represent, but then they also need to be able to give you their marketing preferences. So here they can decide on how they would like you to contact them. Are they happy to receive emails? Are they happy to receive texts, telephone calls, and marketing communication? The marketing communications would be for our campaign tool and or our sequences. Emails, texts, and telephone calls are singularly, and that updates their record and tracker here where it says communication. It will check or uncheck these items. And that just means that they are okay with getting communicated by through these avenues, okay? If they do uncheck it, we don't notify you, but it will just become unchecked in here, and then you'd have to look at the communication style as to how they would like to be talked to. As I said, if I click onto this, I can hit submit, and it will update the record to either yes or no, depending on what they picked. So you'll see now this is changed to no. I'm also going to get a notification in just a second that pops up to let me know that this was updated for Andy Henry. We do also have an option inside the marketing and declaration for them to be completely removed from your system. So if they would like to be completely deleted out of Tracker, they check on this, hit submit, you'll get a notification, and then you can go in and delete their record. I do see a quick question about the authorization. I just want to answer that since we're talking about it. The right to represent is a blanket authorization. It is not job specific. So this is just the candidate is giving you access or giving you the right to represent them in general. And then the next question also, I'll cover these since we're going through them right now. If someone enters a 0 for every day of the week, does their timesheet appear in missing timesheets? No, they will not show in missing timesheets because technically they are not missing. And they basically filled out a timesheet. That 0 is for that if you allow for storing. Excellent. Good question so far. All right, I'm going to move on to a couple other options here back in the portal. One thing I did forget to mention, I'm going to log off and show you guys. I'm so sorry. It's simple, but I think it's a really nice feature, is we have personalized and basically put your logo on the portal. So as long as you guys have your portal, your logo inside Tracker up in the top left-hand corner, when a candidate goes to log in, your logo is going to show at the top. So I feel like that gives it a more personalized touch because they are working for you and not Tracker. So it's a really cool, again, it's really simple, but I think it definitely gives them a home feeling of knowing that they're logging into your system to log their time or their availability, whatever it happens to be. So we're going to continue on with some of these other options that are inside the portal for the candidate. So one thing we also updated is expenses. So as you guys know, you can log expenses, or your candidates can log expenses, and they're all listed here. So when they log them, they all show up here. But to actually log them, they're on the timesheet itself. So inside the timesheet, if you've given them access to have expenses, they can come in, click into the box, and add expense. So we've added some AI capability around this, where here we will detect, if they pick this left-hand side one, we will detect and look at that receipt to decide what type of expense that it is. So if I came here and I had a picture on my phone or a PDF, so it takes a PDF or a JPEG, and I have a gas receipt here, so I could put that in. The system is going to take a look at that receipt and try its best to figure out what it is. So this one here, it realized it was $38.90. The only thing I need to do is pick that it was gas mileage, because that was the receipt that I picked. And I'll show you guys really quick just to show you what that gas receipt looks like. So you have an idea. It's very standard. And it was an image that I took and I saved it as a picture. So you're going to see it's a gas station. You have how much it was, how I paid, all that information. And we've actually put it up to here. You know, it gives you the merchant address and that total. I can put in 1 unit, and then I can go ahead and hit OK. That will add to my expenses for the week, and then I can submit them later. Now, we still give you the old way. If you need to, you can still add expenses here. So on the right-hand side, this is our old way of doing it, where you pick, or the candidate picks, the type of expense, puts in the date, all this information here, and then attaches that image, you know, whether it be a JPEG or a PDF. So you still have that old option if you don't want the AI to detect it. Another thing that we've added here, I'm going to go back to the menu, is a new availability option. So for those of you that are working contracts, obviously you're in the timesheets, we have this My Availability section, okay? If I click on this, this will allow the candidate to tell you if they're available now, what the date they're available from, and any notes. So they can say yes or no, put the date in, maybe their contract is ending on the 31st. So they want you to know that they are ready by the 1st. Contract is up, would like another one. They can type anything that they want. They can hit submit. And once they've submitted that, inside the candidate record, that will update on their availability. Here, you'll also get a pop-up, just like I said, set their availability to yes, and it gives you a little note as to what happened. If I wasn't inside this record, I could click on this arrow and it would bring me right into Andy Henry's record. And I'm just refreshing it so you can see the update. If I get to the timesheet section, this is where I have the availability added. In my system, yours might be in a slightly different area. You here would have available to work is set to yes, available from date, and then the newest note that they put, contract is up, would like another one. I do have a question here that says, is there a way for candidates to automatically receive their login info after they apply, and or if the candidates are already in the system, to do a bulk email to them? So they cannot automatically get a login because you do need to turn certain things on, and we don't give everybody access to the timesheets, only the people that are working. So you wouldn't want anybody just to have access if they're not adding time. So it will be a manual process. And yes, you can totally send a bulk email if you are able to filter them out either through a send list or through their status. of maybe on assignment or whatever your terminology is, you can come into the filter. You can choose the status here. So maybe I'm not sure what we use in the system here, but I would pick one of these, maybe on assignment. Not sure if I have anybody, but I could pick on assignment, and then I could do it 50 at a time. I could come into here. I could say send an email. And if I have a portal template, I can pick up my information that is in here, seeing if there's anything in this one. So your support portal details. This one is a bit different, but it would fill in their username and password, and you could send that in bulk. And because we have our template set up to say send a separate personalized email, this is already checked off. So everybody would only get one single email. The next question is, can we customize what the candidate can see on their portal? Yes, so that is up to these buttons here. So timesheets, expenses, approvals. This here is the only thing that you can customize, which would then customize what main buttons they see on this screen. You can't customize each one of the buttons, but you can customize the home screen to not show certain options. So if they didn't want them to have options to put in their availability, you can hide that. All right, so the next one is, where are the templates located for the timesheets? In the time and expense settings. So in your tools and settings, you'll go into, I'll show you really quick again, guys, here, tools and settings, and then you have under resource tools, time and expense settings. These ones will just give you the ones for timesheets itself, saying timesheet request, expense, absence, or missing timesheets. If you are looking to send their support portal information, you do that separately from our standard timesheet, or I'm sorry, our standard template section. Excellent, guys. I feel like we're rolling at a pretty good pace. Hopefully everybody's keeping up with me. I know we're going over a lot of information. So again, we have updated this a little bit nicer. Don't forget, guys, you do have access to documents, or your candidates have access to documents if needed. Not everybody knows that, but I do like to make sure to tell everybody. You can upload general documents inside our document section here in Tracker. So you have your documents folder in the back here, or your, I'm sorry, it's actually called your document library, not folder, apologies. You can add general documents for your overall company and then share them online if you want to. So you can come into here. If I wanted to share this with everyone, I could come here. This one is already online. You'll see the mark here, but I can mark it offline and then put it back online if needed. Those are going to be general documents that would be available to everyone inside the portal. Now, if you wanted personal documents available to the candidate inside the candidate record, you could go into their documents here, click on this, and you can share on portal. This would then mean that this, because it's inside the candidate record, only the candidate would be able to see it inside here. And you'll see here, general shared documents, that comes from your document library. And down here is my personal documents, which mean that is only shared with Andy. Nobody else can see that information. The candidate is also able to upload documents themselves right from here as well. All right, so now we have a couple more things to go through as always. We have also updated the client portal. Okay, guys, this is a pretty big one. We did a lot of enhancements on this side. So we are always technology forward. You know that. Tracker loves to take things to the next level. I always I'll tell all my clients that, or anybody that I talk to, we're going to make recruiting, and there's your standard practices, and then Tracker's going to take it and bring it to that next level. So you guys are up with the times, your clients can be along with the times, and you can really start to move and get candidates to your clients faster. So we have done a new portal as well. So here, let me show you. So this new portal here for the clients is really nice. They log in just like a candidate would. So I have to find this information. Apologies here. I totally forgot where it was. I think it's at the bottom here. Okay. So here, they're going to log in exactly the same. One thing to keep in mind though, their link is slightly different. Okay, so their link to the portal is different than what the candidate has. They have a different type of portal. And the reason that that is their functions are going to be different. They are not going to tell you when they're available to work, but they are going to want to be able to approve timesheets, or they're going to want to be able to look at jobs. So you have those options here. So here you have access to jobs, access to documents, access to timesheets. Most, if not all of you, are not using the issue, so please don't worry about that one. You can go ahead and turn that one off. You guys do not have your own ticketing system that you have built for yourselves, so don't worry about that one, but the other three might be important. So here, oh, sorry about that. That took just a second there. So I'm going to log in as Mark here and show you some updates. So you can see it is personalized again, and it looks very much the same, but they have different options, okay? So for timesheets, guys, this didn't change very much, but don't forget, instead of approving via email, if they want to log in and they want to look at the timesheets here, they can click in, see the time that was worked. I don't think anybody worked this week, and they would be able to approve or reject it. Or they can use the email that you guys have been standard sending out. Totally up to them. The next thing that we've done, and I'm going to hit the menu here and go back, is we've enhanced sending candidates online and having the client look at the jobs and candidates right online. So I'm going to bring this job up. Let's go here, 1663. Now, you all know our standard process, right? You can pick up a resume, you can send it on off. They can look at it via email and then email you back and let you know what's going on, what they want to do with the candidate. We've actually made some easier options for you. So here on our shortlist, oh, let me start here, sorry, in the profile. As long as the person is the contact on the job and you give them access to jobs in the contact record, they will be able to log in and go to the job section and click on the job itself, okay? So what you guys can do on the shortlist here is actually share people online, and they can log in and view all this information. They can also view everybody that's sitting in the shortlist as long as you share them on the portal. So typically what I like to do is if I'm going to send these candidates off to the client, I can check them off here, click onto this. I can then say send candidate resumes as I always would, but instead of email, I can say online. What that's going to do, I'll hit preview. I then may need to pick my template that's going to be sending candidates online. Might look a little bit differently, but here, so I've shared the following candidate resumes online for your job, and it pulled in that tag of the name of the job itself. Feel free to add feedback on the portal so I can follow up immediately. You can link here, click this link to access the portal, and it would link them direct here. That's going to be a tag that can be added to your tags, guys. So if you think this is something that you would like to use, please let your client success manager know, or reach out to client support and we'll get that added. Another thing that I can do is, because they're going to have to log in, is add the tags for the portal. So you can have it all in one email. That way you're not sending them one email where they have to have their login information. They can have everything all at once. You can send it off. They would get an email to click the link. It would bring them into here. Actually, I'm sorry. Do you want to send that? I picked the wrong one here. Let me just do this one more time. We'll send resumes online and we'll hit send. And now you're going to see everybody moved as they would. You guys should be pretty familiar with this. This is Tracker's bread and butter here. But you're going to see now that they're shared on the portal. I can then go in to the job itself. I'm going to have to refresh it because I already had it open. And I would be able to see all 5 candidates that were shared on the portal right here. You have a nice little graph. Now, I only have those 5 people shared on the portal that are sitting in resume sent to client. As I move them through different portions, I'll show you what that looks like. This graph here, or donut chart, is going to break up and say, okay, 5 resumes sent to client. It might then break down 2 into interview. It could break down 1 into offer, and that will all show you on here. It's a really nice feature, guys. Okay. Now, I'm sure you're excited to see this. If you click on the resume or on the candidate itself, here you're able to see a profile of the candidate. And then you can also see a document. The client can then put feedback in. So they can say 5 stars, great candidate, would like to interview immediately. I can then hit interview. I can let you guys know when I'm available. So I can tell you, okay, on Monday, I'm good anytime. On Tuesday, I'm only good in the afternoon. I can also put notes if needed and hit okay. What's going to happen is this going to send off. And again, here, I have arranged an interview with Aaron Atkins. It gives me a notification that this person needs to be interviewed, and I got the feedback here. All right, guys. Super neat, keeps things in check. You get your notifications. You can use them from here because obviously you're not going to have that record open, or most of the time you're not going to have it open like I conveniently did, but you'd be able to go right to these things and deal with what you need to. So here you would then say, okay, Aaron Atkins, I can then schedule however you guys schedule your interviews. You can schedule your interviews here. I can schedule it. We can say it's for next week with the time, date, hit okay. And then I would have that interview scheduled. However you send it off to your clients is up to you. And I just want to show you here, when I refresh it, you now see you have 1 in a first interview and the 4 with the resume sent to client. Okay, and I can see here where the people are sitting. All right, this dashboard just shows you this picture. So guys, if you have a lot going on, this is a great tool for your clients, right? Your clients can go in, they can see, and they can do whatever they need to do to move these clients forward. It says, I'm sorry, I got a question here in my own head sometimes. Is it possible to add highlights of the candidate's background for the client along with the resume if using the portal? Yes, you can. That's actually going to be my next thing to show you. So one thing that we had in here is when you click on someone, we have this profile here, right? And then you'll see this profile looks very different than the profile that we had for Aaron here. So this is actually can be personalized. So what you can do, I'll show you inside the job, is inside the record here. Let's go to Aaron. You can click on the placement record, and then you can go to, now your tab might be named slightly different. And if you don't have that as a portion of your placement record here, you'd be able to go into the layout designer and add in the portal. I can show you what that looks like, and then you can call this tab anything that you want. So what you're going to see here is the online profile matches this here. So if you wanted to put some highlights, instead of having this, you could type up some highlights in here. Or if you have something in here that you wanted, so in the agency resumes, you have templates that you can create. So you can create something like that and then dump it right into here, or you can physically just type in your highlights because your highlights might be specific to each job. You might want to highlight different things. You could type that into here, and this is what is shared with the client itself. Also, guys, if you don't know it already, we need to tell you about it. We do video resumes. You can share that as well. So the candidate can record themselves a video resume, and that can be shared inside the portal here. If you use that, oops, that's the wrong one. It would be listed in here down at the bottom if they did have a video interview. Another thing to keep in mind, so I know I said I wanted to interview this person, and we got a little pop-up that said we can interview. Now, there are a few other options here. It happens every once in a while, guys. People get rejected. I know it's hard, but people do. You can actually reject someone if you would like. So I'm going to take here and just reject someone. We actually move them to rejected for you, which I think is kind of cool. Okay, so you can actually reject it, and you'd see rejected by client. That's sitting here. And then here, Aaron Atkins was rejected on this job. I mean, I actually move that one for you to say rejected by client. We do that work for you. We don't typically do it on the other ones because I don't want you to, we don't want to move them to interview without you actually scheduling. So we just do the rejected for you. All right. And then I do have a question here. Can we get an info box where we can add instructions or info about updates to statuses? That will happen when we action on it. As of now, I don't have that, like an overall info box on the job itself. But I do think here, I thought in the job itself, it might tell you how as far as it's gone, but I could be wrong. I don't think there is a note. It's really just about the candidates here, not the job itself. But it's a good shout, and I could definitely put in a feature request, see if it's something that we could do in the future. All right, guys, we're going a little over time. Hopefully everybody can stick with me. Those are some of the great updates on the portal. The last thing I want to show you, which a lot of you might have been hanging on for, is our integration with QuickBooks, okay? It's going to be a pretty quick overview because essentially it's pretty easy. For those of you that are creating invoices in Tracker, you know your invoices here. So you have your raised invoices after you've created them. You'll then be able to go ahead, check off the ones that you want to send, come to the action menu and hit send to account system. Okay. That will then pick up all of those and try and send them over. You'll get a report as to what happens. So see, it says ready, ready, ready. I can hit send and then it will tell me what happens. So here you can see rejected because it doesn't have any line items. So you know exactly what happened. Here, this let us know that the company was auto created and the invoice item was auto created because I had turned that on. So guys, the integration itself, to look at it, isn't super exciting, but to get all that stuff easily into QuickBooks is the best part, right? So all I had to do was select the invoices that I wanted, hit 2 buttons, and it sent it over. You also have the batch status here to let us know what happened. So I can see here it was processed, here there was an error, and whatnot happened here. Now, just to show you really quick, because I'm sure most of you got it run, but inside here, in the financial settings and invoice settings, once you have the plugin installed, so I'm sorry, I should start from the beginning. In order to get it connected, I got a little ahead of myself. You can go here into My Settings, go into the plugins, and you can turn on QuickBooks Desktop or QuickBooks Online. Okay, one or the other, it's totally up to you. Once you pop these things up, which I don't want to turn off these, so I'm going to leave it. But once you do turn these on, you will have a link to some instructions on what needs to be done. The desktop, you need to download a connector. QuickBooks, you just need to log in and you do need an admin account. Okay, so you have to be an administrator in QuickBooks to allow this connection. That's on them. They decided that is a must. So once you have that, there'll be a little link to some instructions on what you can do on how to fix this up. But I'll show you in here, it's actually a pretty easy setup. So in your account system here, once you have the plugin turned on, you will see these options. They will not be there before, and they will not show in anybody else's record. So only if you have it turned on can you see this. So here, you can create companies that do not exist, create invoice items that do not exist, and that's up to you, yes or no. Custom field for a PO number. So in QuickBooks, if you have a custom field for a PO number, you can add that in. And then you guys should be pretty familiar with this. Inside QuickBooks, you probably have a perm income account and maybe a temporary income account. And that way you would come into here and put in the account you want these to go to. So the income account you want your line items to go to. If there's a tax rate, you can put in a tax rate, and then the 0% tax rate is this. So guys, this is more familiar to those who use QuickBooks. I am not proficient in QuickBooks. I am much more proficient in Tracker, but hopefully this makes sense to you guys. Worst case scenario, please do reach out to your client success manager or client support, and you can go ahead and get that info taken care of, added into here. And we could probably help you walk you through, but I think it'll make much more sense to you since you're the one using QuickBooks. You might even be able to teach us something. So those are the only things that you do need to set up. It's going to be the same thing for Zero. I'm not sure how many people use Zero here in the States. I don't hear of it a lot. I hear much more about QuickBooks. And then that's going to be it. So once you have this set up, you save it, you go create your invoices and send them on over to QuickBooks, whether it be desktop or online. Someone's asking the cost of QuickBooks Online. I don't provide that. You would need to reach out to QuickBooks themselves. That would be your own contract with them. And then the next question is, does Tracker attach the timesheets to the invoices as a backup so the client has the invoice and timesheets together? Not inside QuickBooks. That is, I don't think that's something that they accept. It is in Tracker though. So that's something that we already do. You can send those into QuickBooks. So you can do all your accounting and everything in QuickBooks, but still email the invoices right from Tracker if you would like. Totally up to you. I don't think that's something that they accept as attachments. We are just creating invoices. And then the last question is, how do we load timesheets for payroll? Not too sure what you're trying to do with that. So I would reach out to your client success manager to get that specific question answered, because the timesheet should be filled out in Tracker already. We don't do payroll because QuickBooks doesn't do payroll. So you need an additional system to do the payroll. So T-Sheets, I think, is one that's connected to them. If you're not using that, QuickBooks doesn't actually have a place for you to put time. Next one is there a way that QuickBooks can send payment information to Tracker? Yes, there actually is. We do talk backwards. So if you want, if you come to your invoices, you can select what you need and then say sync from accounts. I'm sorry, I don't even think you actually, oh, you do have to select it to get the button, but you would select here, say sync from account system. And then if they're paid in QuickBooks, it'll come back and update the invoice status to paid here. If there's no change, it just stays. And the last question, I think it might be the same about the timesheets. Do we import time worked into QuickBooks? We do not. QuickBooks itself does not have that capability. QuickBooks on their own do not do that. You need to have T-Sheets or something else, but I do not have that. Someone's saying they don't have the sync. It might be only available online. If you're using the desktop version, it might not be available. And that would just be their limitation on QuickBooks. All right, guys, this has been super informative. I hope you really, you guys had great questions. Sounds like you were intrigued. I'm really happy that you took the time. I know you're busy, so thank you for joining us. If there's any last questions, feel free to send them on over and we'll probably answer via email. If you need to get more in depth with anything that we've seen, feel free, reach out to your client success manager. We're here to help you. That's what we want to do. It's in our name. We want to make you successful. And then, from there, if you don't have a client success manager, you want to just reach out to client support, at tracker-rms.com. You will be handled by the first person your email is received by, and we will answer all the questions that we have. Well, thank you very much for your time and have a wonderful day.